were Hispanics during segregation? I know you thought I forgot about the second part of your question, Janice, but I didn't. So let's get into it. During the segregation period in the US, so we're talking post-Civil War, during Reconstruction, and then Jim Crow, Latinos in the US were absolutely segregated. This wasn't officially part of Jim Crow, and indeed some historians have now called it Juan Crow. But it did happen. It was not to the same extent that segregation occurred toward African Americans, but it did occur. So let's rewind real quick to the US Civil War. And Latinos actually fought on both sides, the Confederacy and the Union. You know what? The US Army did have a page on their website commemorating that, but ever since convicted felon Donald Trump, aka Mango Mussolini, took office, they deleted those pages and that history. But anyways, after the Civil War, most of the people who lived on that newly annexed, formerly Mexican territory were pro-union. And it wasn't necessarily out of solidarity with Black people. It was out of fear that they would be treated similarly to them. Many of them believed that if the Confederacy won, that they also would be treated like property, or that their actual property would not be respected and would be taken from them. So in some ways, it was about self-preservation and it was selfish. But their participation in the Civil War cannot be overstated. They provided security for silver and gold mines in Colorado and California that would fund the coffers of the Union and eventually help them lead a successful campaign against the Confederacy. Now, after the Civil War, you have a period of Reconstruction, which includes a period of legally sanctioned segregation. This is especially true in the US South. But what about the Southwest? So Latinos, are mostly Mexicans, people of Mexican heritage, were getting their own version of segregation. So one of the most notable types of segregation was school segregation. Mexican American kids, like indigenous kids, were sent to separate schools. Now, these schools were underfunded, and the rationale was that it was for language purposes because they didn't speak English, or that it was for hygienic reasons because those Mexican kids were dirty. But let's be honest, it was plain racism. Public spaces were also segregated. In many places throughout Texas and California, there were signs on the windows of restaurants and other facilities open to the public that said, "No Mexicans, no dogs." So we're talking about separate seating, separate entrances, etc. In the same way that Black folks experience redlining when it comes to housing, Mexican Americans experience the same. Latinos were systemically denied loans and boxed into specific neighborhoods. And this is where we get the rhetoric of, being from the wrong side of the tracks, if you know what I mean. Now, of course, there was segregated labor and the racialization